got to me. She said we should hook up the boyfriend and boogie. Don't know me, then look up. I'm being the clouds. Pool full of Henny, I drink and I drown.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Sam from Harkey Fishing, and man, what a day it's been. What a great lake report we got for you. Got to fish a little derby today for the Bass Federation Club, and man, it was an exciting day. Had a 20-pound bag. You can't do much better than that. So I just want to kind of recap a little bit of what we found, and like I said, we're getting these fishing reports back up and rolling for the year. This is actually the second time I've been bass fishing this year, so I didn't get a chance to practice for this at all, and really just kind of made some lucky choices as far as patterns that we were fishing, and man, when it comes together, it just seems like it all comes together good. So wanted to kind of let you guys know a little bit about that. Like I said, this is March, like the 17th, 18th. I don't even know what day it is, but it was Saturday today, and had a couple derbies. The Anglers in Action Derby was today, and then several little club derbies. I know about 3 that were going on today. The Anglers in Action had 170 boats. Just talked to a guy with Club Tournament that ran about 15 boats, 15 and a half pounds won it. The Anglers in Action took 22 pounds. Our little club tournament took 19.9, and we were lucky enough to be the ones that caught that. So kind of a little bit about what's going on. First off, the lake level is about 916. I think it's actually 915 now. I didn't check it this morning, but it's basically right at its normal pre-spring pool. Water temperature this morning, we had a cold day Friday and quite a bit of rain, and it was 46 degrees when we launched this morning, and I saw as high as about 52, 53 when we right before we loaded up, and it's actually a little cooler than it was last week when we had some warm days. But this weekend's supposed to be beautiful, and then we're supposed to get a lot of rain next week. So let's get to how we caught these fish. So the little bit of information that I know about this time of year, there's typically a really good Alabama rig bite. There's typically a really good wigglewort bite or rock crawler bite. And so I kind of went into the day knowing that, hey, I'd love to throw an Alabama rig, but in our tournament, it's off limits. The Anglers in Action guys could throw those, but I couldn't. So I knew I was going to have to lean heavily on a wigglewort. And so red is always a popular color, so I was throwing red wiggleworts. I had a red rock crawler tied on as well in case I needed to get a little bit deeper. And so when we blasted off this morning, we started with the wigglewort, and really we was kind of running mixed rock banks. That's where you see the boulders, but then every once in a while you can see some pea gravel kind of in it. Most of these were like 20 to 30 degree banks. Some parts of them were 45 degree banks. And I guess the first thing I noticed, we fished one complete pocket. We caught a fish on the point going into the pocket, and we caught a fish on the other point coming out of the pocket. And so that kind of was my first clue of, hey, these fish are on the points more than they are, started back into these pockets. And so we kind of tried to focus a little more on the points and went to another couple points with the wigglewort. Those first two fish we caught were both keepers. The point thing, we went about, 45 minutes fishing other points, and we didn't ever catch another fish, not even short fish. So decided to go to the back of one of the creeks and fish the last, it was a pretty major creek. I think it was, let's see, we were near Kimberling City. So we were in, I can't even think of the name of it, but, one of the coves up there, and we went to the last channel swing bank in the very back of that. I mean, it was 8 foot deep in the deepest part. And we fished down that, and I was just about to give up on it. We got one good bite, about a 2.5 pounder. And so that put us up to 3 keepers, and I was pretty excited about that. It was a decent fish. I was thinking we were well on our way to about a 12-pound limit. And honestly, I thought that I was going to be super happy with that. And if we could just finish that out. So we moved on into Fisher Creek. We were in Gore Creek. That was the creek we were in, and so we moved on into Fisher Creek and started fishing Fisher Creek a little bit there by Kimberling City, and we pulled up to another basically 45 degree bank that I wanted to throw the wigglewort down, and happened to scan by a conservation brush pile, and there were a lot of fish on it, and so I thought, okay, this is kind of interesting. So I set my wiggle wart down and picked up a finesse jig, a Chomper's finesse jig, and man, I tell you, I threw in there and I caught a little short Kentucky, and I thought, okay, that's what they are. They're just short Kentuckies. It's probably not worth wasting my time on. But I threw in there again, and I caught a nice keeper, like 16.5-inch Kentucky that probably, I think it weighed 235, and so that was very helpful to get that going. Very next cast, we caught a 3.9 smallie out of the same brush pile. So, man, I was pumped up about that. I thought we've completed our limit now, and we've actually got like 12.5, 13 pounds, and so I was tickled with that. And being the genius that I am, I put the jig back down and I started throwing the wiggle wart again. Fast forward 45 minutes and not another bite. And I came to the next brush pile as I was wiggle warting along the bank. And it was kind of on a point as well, and at the mouth of a spawning pocket. And I thought, there's a lot of fish on there. Let's throw that jig in there. And the next fish was a 652. And so you'll see that as we're catching that there. Unfortunately, I didn't do a very good job videoing. This thing was just rolling on the boat. And so you get to see me set the hook. You get to see me get pretty excited with the net. And my stepson was fishing with me. He's 11. And oh my gosh, he's so excited, but he's never netted a fish in his life. And so I took the duties away from him and netted my own fish because I was just too nervous to lose that fish. So we got that netted, and man, and then that put us to 16.5 pounds, and I just thought, well, that's what a completion of the day. We'd started about 6:45, and it was I think it was 10:30 or so when we had 16.5 pounds. I mean, you couldn't ask for better. And then once again, being the genius I am, I picked back up the wiggle wart and threw it another 2 hours and didn't catch any fish. So moral of that story is when you got to learn quicker than that. So I finally decided to throw down the wiggle wart. We picked up the jig and went fishing for more brush piles. Fished a numerous amount of brush piles in pockets and around pockets, but not so many of them on points of pockets. And we didn't have much luck on many of the brush piles unless they were on the point. So we went to Mill Creek and fished the Mill Creek area, which is usually, it actually, Mill Creek, since it's on the south side of the lake and it's kind of protected, it's a great spawning pocket, but it's on the south side of the lake. And for those of you guys that maybe are like, well, what does that matter? Keep in mind our sun is basically a little bit in the south, so it shines on the north banks more than the south banks. So your north-facing banks and pockets are gonna, those fish are gonna, that water's gonna warm up. Those fish are gonna spawn a little earlier than the pockets that are on the south side of the lake. And so anyhow, Mill Creek's not a real ideal pocket to go into, but we went in there and lo and behold, this time was on a piece of standing timber. We're using forward-facing sonar. I didn't actually see this fish, but I saw a really nice tree with a nice little fork in it. Flipped the jig right up next to it, let it sink down about 10 feet, and was actually scanning with the forward-face sonar. Saw a huge school of crappie and thought, hey, that'd be fun to catch. About the time I felt the thump, and that one was 535. And so we were just fortunate enough we didn't have any errors. We didn't miss any fish. We got them all netted. And so, moral of this story is these fish are really using the brush right now, which is kind of odd because I'd heard they were kind of getting up on the bank, not really necessarily to spawn, but to kind of think about it with this warm weather and to warm up a little bit. And I think, with that cold spell we had the last few days, these fish backed off the bank and actually kind of just piled up on these brush piles. I think they're going to move right back up there to the bank to get warm over this weekend, probably by tomorrow. We got another derby tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. But I think that's they basically just, when that cold snap hit, they pulled off just a little bit, and we really got lucky. That is one of the beautiful things about forward-facing sonar is, not so much. I don't guess I saw any of these fish. I saw fish on brush piles, but I don't think I saw any of these bigger fish with the forward-facing sonar. But what I did do is I could tell there were fish on the brush piles, and that clued me in that, hey, we need to kind of stick with these brush piles and, see what we can catch off of them. So we're going to go back tomorrow, try to give it another shot. Now you guys know the secrets and know where we'll be. So we might see you out there. Anyway, keep your lines wet, man. Take a kid fishing. I took my 11-year-old stepson today. He had a blast. He did catch a nice smallmouth on a Ned rig this morning. He wasn't doing too good with the casting, so we let him kind of drag that Ned rig, and sure enough, he had one eat it, and it was about a 2.25 pound. It did end up getting cold at the end of the day, which I kind of hated. I wanted him to get to weigh that one fish, but hey, he had a blast fishing, and you know, he is on cloud 9 right now. He's so excited. So anyhow, till next time, man, y'all keep the lines wet. Send us some pictures. Make a comment. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, subscribe. We typically do weekly fishing reports. I do a lot of night fishing reports, so those will start up here very shortly. Night fishing tournaments start in April, so we'll be putting those out right before we start those night tournaments. So y'all have a good day. See ya.